नमस्ते बिटिया, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। I am Dr. Bharat Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Pathology, Faculty of Homeopathic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. Today's topic is developmental anomalies and hydrocephalus in central nervous system. Spinal cord defects. Spina bifida is the term applied to the malformation of the vertebral column, involving incomplete embryologic closure of one or more of the vertebral arches, rachis, most frequently in the lumbosacral region. The vertebral defect is frequently associated with defect in the neural tube structures and their coverings. The bony defect may be of varying degree. The least serious form is spina bifida occulta, in which there is only vertebral defect but no abnormalities of the spinal cord and its meninges. The site of bony defect is marked by a small dimple or a hairy pigment mole in the overlying skin. The larger bony defect, however, appears as a distinct cystic swelling over the affected site called spina bifida cystica. This is associated with herniation of the meninges or the spinal cord or both. First is herniation of the meninges alone through the bony defect is called meningeocele. The herniated sac is meningeocele consists of dura and arachnoid. The commonest and the more serious form is, however, meningeomyelocele, in which the spinal cord or its roots also herniate through the defect and are attached to the posterior wall of the sac. In this defect, the dura and the skin in the sac are deficient. Third is a rare form of the defect is myelocele or spirosyringeomyelocele is in which there is defective closure of the spinal canal so that the sac consists of an open flat neural tissue plate without skin covering and the cerebrospinal fluid leaking through it. The existence of the defect in bony closure in the region of occipital bone or frontoethmoidal junction may result in cranial meningeocele and encephalocele. Now, Arnold Chiari malformations. Arnold Chiari malformation is the term used for a group of malformation of the brain involving the brainstem and the cerebellum. Approximately 50% of children with hydrocephalus have Arnold Chiari malformation. Most patients of Arnold Chiari malformation have in addition meningomyelocele. The major component of type 2 Arnold Chiari malformation are as follows. First is elongation of the medulla with part of fourth ventricle in the cervical canal. Second is distortion of the medulla forming a characteristic S-shaped band at the junction with the cervical spinal cord. Third is lengthening and herniation of the cerebral vermis and cerebellar tonsil through the foramen magnum, resulting in formation of a mass over the upper cervical cord. Now, hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is the term used for increased volume of cerebrospinal fluid within the skull, accompanied by dilatation of the ventricles. In majority of the cases, hydrocephalus, there is increased intracranial pressure. This type of hydrocephalus involving ventricular dilatation is termed internal hydrocephalus. A localized collection of cerebrospinal fluid in the subarachnoid space is called external hydrocephalus. Source and circulation of cerebrospinal fluid. CSF is mainly produced by choroid plexus in the lateral third and fourth ventricle, and a small part is formed on the surface of the brain and spinal cord. The total volume of cerebrospinal fluid is about 120 to 150 milliliter. CSF formed in the lateral ventricles flows through the foramina of Monro to the third ventricle and formed there by the adequate of sylvus to the fourth ventricle. It then is spread through the subarachnoid space over the surface of the spinal cord. Types and etiopathogenesis of hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is classified into primary and secondary type, the former being much more common. Primary hydrocephalus. Primary hydrocephalus is defined as actual increase in the volume of CSF within the skull along with elevated intracranial pressure. There are three possible mechanisms of primary hydrocephalus. First is obstruction to the flow of CSF. Second is overproduction of CSF. Third is deficient reabsorption of CSF. However, obstruction to the flow of the CSF is by far the commonest cause and is termed obstructive hydrocephalus. The term non-communicating and communicating hydrocephalus are used to denote the site of obstruction. Now, non-communicating hydrocephalus, when the site of obstruction of CSF pathway is in the third ventricle or at the exit of foramina in the fourth ventricle, the ventricular system enlarges and CSF cannot pass into the subarachnoid space. Among the common cause are the following. First is congenital non-communicating hydrocephalus. Examples are stenosis of aqueduct, Arnold Chiari malformation, progressive gliosis of the aqueduct, and intrauterine meningitis. Second is acquired non-communicating hydrocephalus may occur from expanding lesions within the skin. These conditions are as under: tumor adjacent to the ventricular system. Examples are epidymoma, choroid plexus papilloma, or medulloblastoma, and others. Inflammatory lesions like cerebral abscess and meningitis, and hemorrhages. Examples are parenchymal hemorrhage, intraventricular hemorrhage, and epidural and subdural hematoma. Now, communicating hydrocephalus. When obstruction to the flow of CSF is in the subarachnoid space at the base of the brain, it results in enlargement of the ventricular system. But CSF flows freely between dilated ventricle and the spinal canal. The cause of communicating hydrocephalus are non-obstructive as follows. First is overproduction of CSF. Examples is choroid plexus papilloma. Second is deficient reabsorption of CSF. Examples are following meningitis, subarachnoid hemorrhage, and dural sinus thrombosis. Secondary hydrocephalus. Secondary hydrocephalus is much less common and is defined as compensatory increase of CSF due to loss of neural tissue without associated rise in intracranial pressure. Normal pressure hydrocephalus. Examples from cerebral atrophy and infarction. Gross appearance, there is dilatation of ventricle depending upon the site of obstruction. There is thinning and stretching of the brain, the scalp, vein overlying the enlarged head are engorged and the fontanelles remains open. Microscopic examination shows severe hydrocephalus may be associated with damage to the ependymal lining of the ventricles and causes perventricular interstitial edema. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapith Women's University. I hope you all enjoy this session. If you have any query, please mention it in comment box. Thank you.